Richard, when homeowners think about the perils of lead inside the house, I think they used to think about paint chips.
Sure.
But nowadays, with the news coming out of Flint, Michigan, they're starting to think about water.
It's really front of mind, isn't it?
Right.
I thought I would give you a little history lesson to help understand the history of lead and where we're at now.
Nice.
So when we first brought plumbing inside the building, we were making it up as we went. There was no standardization, so we found the materials that we could use of the day, which was lead, had a low melting point. You would heat it up in a pot, and then you would form it into all kinds of shapes. So imagine if you wanted to make a pipe like this. You couldn't buy it at the supply place. You take a dowel like this, sheet lead, and wrap it around the dowel.
Really?
Fold it onto itself, take a hammer and peen it together, then a torch like this, and then you'd heat it up because it had a low melting point, and you would get it into some craggy looking stick like this. It wasn't a straight stick, right. And then when it came to actually making fittings, look at this. So now with this, you'd have your gloves on, and you'd bring this piece together, you'd take your torch, and you would wipe and try to make this thing form into a fitting.
Wow.
And at the end, you would shave it like a carpenter would shave to form the fitting. Okay. That took time.
And you're saying that back in the day, this was everywhere.
Right.
But that's not the case now. I mean, we don't have lead all throughout the houses.
No, that's right. Lead doesn't exist all that many places. Over time, there was an evolution. Lead gave way to threaded brass. You'd buy straight sticks of brass and you'd cut it and thread it like this. Mm-hmm. Then it went to galvanized steel before and during the Second World War. Then you've got copper piping, and nowadays we even have plastic piping.
Right.
But there's still one place, getting back to Flint, there's still one place that many houses still have some lead in it, and that's from the main city water supply in through the foundation called the water main.
So this is the part that's buried underground that no one could get to.
That's right. And this might be the part you see coming through the foundation wall. It's called a cup joint right here, where you have the lead and it transitions to copper. You'd see a shutoff valve, probably an old-style shutoff valve right here. Now, in the case of Flint, over time, the lead water mains will get coated with minerals, okay, inside here. So those minerals actually act as an insulator to keep the lead from leaching into the water.
Okay.
Flint did two things. They changed the water supply and the water chemistry, which made that layer disappear, losing its insulation, so now it could leach into the water.
So that's why we got all the problems there.
That's right. And there's still, not just Flint, there's many houses still in Boston and a lot of urban cities.
I mean, this is a big concern, right? Because
Yes,
we
absolutely.
know that lead causes neurological problems.
That's right.
And that's a big problem in pregnant women,
Yep.
where that can be transferred
Yep.
to the unborn child, but
Yep.
also to little kids.
That's right.
So if there's any lead, if you know about anything, how does someone get the peace of mind, and how do they protect themselves against it?
You're going to start by testing. You got to say, all right, I'm going to either go out and get a kit like this that I can do at a do-it-yourself level, or go to a third-party testing agency to just get the water tested.
Yep.
The other thing is, don't be fooled that you think you can just get something like this that goes in the refrigerator and takes care of lead. This will be for taste and odor. Some of these are for taste and odor, maybe for rust.
So this is something that you put maybe on the whole house.
That's right.
Right. And so that will not necessarily treat for lead.
The other thing to stress is that we're not worried about the water that you might shower in, do your laundry in, or flush down the toilet.
It's not going to leach into us.
It's only what you ingest. So you got to think about, and look at the labels. You know, there's little units that'll go onto the aerator right here. Read its level right here to be sure, and I'm not sure how long that'll last.
So this is point of use, and you're
Right.
saying that I could get a filter at point of use
That's
that
right.
would treat for lead.
That's right. And if you really want peace of mind, you really want to think about reverse osmosis, RO.
Right.
Okay, here's a unit here, pre-filter, post-filter, but in the middle it's got this membrane. And with the membrane, you're driving water at the molecular level through this membrane. The only thing that can move through the membrane
Right.
is H2O molecules. All the impurities remain back and flush away.
Which is why these systems come with these holding
That's
tanks,
right. That's right.
and why we typically have a separate faucet, because
That's right.
just the drinking water, just the ice water.
Think about what you're drinking or what's going into the ice maker.
All right, well, that's a very cool history lesson and some good information.
There's a lot of hard work back then.
Still is.